Let's bring on in our star cappers for our NFL Rapid Fire segment. And there they are in all their glory. Look at him, looking absolutely dapper in his red Picks and Parlays gear is our Jefe himself, but we like to call him El Guapo, Craig Trapp. And of course, looking very dapper as well, is Tony, Comandante El Tigre Tellez.
Just a reminder, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube page and hit the bell if you want notifications every time we post a new video.
NFL Rapid Fire it is. Gentlemen, let's start with the man in the red, El Guapo, Craig Trapp. Should we start with Tennessee versus Baltimore, or do you like to start somewhere else?
No, that'll be good.
All right, well, 10-7 Titans against 14-2 Ravens. And after that big wild card win over the Patriots, Titans going to run up against a brick wall. At least that's my opinion. Baltimore 9-point favorites. I think that's widened since I had these. I'm a little kind of behind the times on some of these lines. Total of 47. Far away, Mr. Trapp.
Yeah, this line actually is 10 now. Pretty much a consensus across the board. I don't think so. I think this Baltimore Ravens team, we've seen it more often than not in these divisional rounds. The teams that have not played, the teams that are well rested, sometimes a little rusty. And I think a Titans team, after that confidence, the way they finished the season, the way they beat the defending Super Bowl champion Patriots, I like this Titans team here at plus 10. I don't know if I'd sprinkle the money line, but I think it's much closer. I think this Tennessee Titans defense is the key. Let's take the Tennessee Titans plus 10. I also think the under 47 is a solid play. Like I said, I think there's a little rust here with that Ravens defense. And let's don't forget, Lamar Jackson wasn't so good last year in the playoffs.
Yeah, but you know, Craig, I mean, that time off has given guys like Earl Thomas and Mark Ingram a chance to recover, and they're likely to play. Let's get Tony T's take on this.
Yeah, I'm right there with Craig here. I'm going to take the 10 points here with Tennessee. You know, they've covered 4 straight on the road. These are road warriors here. They've covered, you know, as we talked about, 4 straight on the road, 5 straight on the road against winning home teams. And of course, we saw that running attack. They averaged 142 yards this season, 5 yards per rush. And of course, they ran the ball well against New England. Listen, they won in New England. No one does that, right? I mean, that's a pretty good achievement for this Titans team. And I think that carries some momentum here. And of course, Ryan Tannehill, if he gets help in the running game, he can be an effective passer. Now, you know, on the road, he's been.
Yeah, but hold on a second. Adam Humphries, Khalif Raymond, Cody Hollister, they're not going to play. I mean, those are wide receivers.
Yeah, but you know, they can fill it in, and they can run the football. And we look at Tannehill's effectiveness on the road, 73% completion rate, and of course, their numbers in the red zone has been outstanding. You know, when you look at their offensive numbers, 8th best on third down defensively, and of course, when you look at them against really good, against a good defensive team, the Ravens. Their offense was held to 24 points at Buffalo, 20 to San Francisco, which resulted in 1 possession wins. So getting more than 1 possession here, I'm going to take the underdog. As Craig said, I'm not a big fan of playing them on the money line, but this could be a 1 possession game. Guess what? You win no matter who wins.
Sure, of course, right. Well, Baltimore might win, but not by 10 points. And then you win all the way to the bank. So good on that one. Let's go with the next one, shall we, guys? Let's do the Seattle Seahawks versus the Green Bay Packers. I want to choose this one because of all the teams we've seen in the playoffs so far, the Seahawks look the least likely to do anything after their win. For me, anyway. They beat the Eagles 17-9. It was an ugly, ugly game. Seahawks, I mean, what was this? 11 penalties, a loss of 114 yards. I mean, you don't have to do anything against the Seahawks. You can just let them go and, you know, get the ball for you. 114 yards in total penalties for the Seahawks. The matchup here is Seattle's offensive line against the Packers pass rush. The Packers ranked 23rd against the rush, though. Too many injuries to list for the Seahawks. And the Packers, by the way, also got a fair amount of injuries as well. They closed the season with that tight win against Detroit. Their offense is ranked 24th in third down conversions. Guys, where are we going with this one? I got Green Bay home favorites. Total of 47.
Yep. Okay. All right. I'll kick it off here. You know, we've seen some line movement here. We've seen actually a 4.5 in some places, but I'll take the points with Seattle. I just can't go against a Seahawks team that's 8-1 straight up on the road. They average 371 yards a game. And what has Green Bay done the last few seasons? Have you seen them in any Super Bowls? We always hear the hype. Oh, Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. They fall flat in the playoffs. They haven't done much. And of course, they got a first-year head coach here in a big spot against a grizzled veteran in Pete Carroll, who's very good at making second half adjustments. So, and of course, I got Russell Wilson, a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I think I like my chances there. 66% completion rate, 31 touchdowns, 5 picks, and he's been accurate on the road, completing 70% of his passes. And one thing to note here about the Packers, they did give up a lot of yardage at home, 366 yards a game. And they've been held to 23 points or fewer in 4 straight. And don't forget, the Packers have not been a good third down team this year, just 23rd in the NFL on third down conversions. Give me a little more than a field goal here with Seattle plus the 4.
I hate to correct the expert, but actually it's 24th. But let's leave it right there. Tony.
All right, you got it.
Point well taken. Disagree with you, though. Craig, I disagree with Tony because Seattle, by my count, has 19 injuries. Now, look, I know there's about 800 people on an NFL squad, but still, 19 first-team players injured is a lot to replace. What say you, Craig Trapp?
Well, my top play on this one actually over at picksandparlays.net on the side, but I got to play for the total here for our rapid fire. I think you're right. I think there's a lot of injuries. So you know what Seattle's going to have to do? They're going to have to play ball control. They're going to have to slow this game down. And you know what? Green Bay doesn't mind playing the same way. They run the ball this year. Yes, everybody talks about how great Aaron Rodgers is. This year they won because they had a much improved pass rush and they're much improved running the ball. I think that's the key in this game. I think there's going to be a lot lower points. I think 47 is way too high. So my free play going to be under 47, but don't forget my top play. Go over to picksandparlays.net and get it this weekend.
Well, Craig, but I mean, what about the lack of discipline that the Seahawks have shown? I mean, that's going to be a problem if you've got to play a disciplined game.
Well, I think that, sometimes that first game in the playoffs, you can be a little jumpy, but I think, they're going to be the team. I've said this, we said this about the first game in the Ravens. They'll be a little rusty. I think the 49ers will be a little rusty. I think the Seahawks will fix some of those penalties. They're going to have to, because if they have another 11 penalties on the road, they will not win at Green Bay. So I think they'll be a little better. Pete Carroll's a great coach, and I think he'll have them ready for this one. But like I said, I think the under 47, very solid free play here.
During the holiday season, he's known as Christmas Carol. Okay, the Houston Texans against the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a game I'm looking forward to, by the way. Houston 11-6, 8-1 against the spread, held off the Bills to win the wild card game. Bills didn't do much with their play calling, but we'll leave that one there. Jonathan Joseph, Will Fuller, Jordan Akins are doubtful. They're 7-3 in the last 10, and the Chiefs 8-2. Last outing was beating the Chargers 31-21. That was the last game of the regular season. They've obviously had a little bit of a breather. They're 5-3 straight up against the spread at home. Second in yards per play, fourth in scoring. I like this team a lot. They're 9.5-point home favorites with a total of 50. Guys, there's no upset in the making here in my mind. But what do you think about this 9.5 points? Let's start with you,
I'll take this
Craig.
one. I actually see the Chiefs here at 10. I see both the AFC lines have moved from 9 or 9.5 to 10. I see the total at 51. I think the Texans have a real shot here. I really do. I think the Texans, they have all the makings of a team that can win on the road in the playoffs. They have a mobile quarterback that I think is going to be needed because the Chiefs' pass rush is much better this year. Their defense is much improved this year. Their offense is not quite as explosive as it was last year. I think the Texans catch a rusty Chiefs team, and I think this is a much closer game. Give me the 10 points, but I think the better play actually is going to play on the under 51. I just think both of these teams are going to play under. I think it's going to be like 23-24 for each team. It's going to be that close, and I think the under is a very solid play here. I think Kansas City will just be lucky if they get out of this game alive. And if the Texans get past this game, I could see the Texans in the Super Bowl. They definitely have all the weapons. J.J. Watt's back. This is one of those dangerous teams that you do not want to face if you're Kansas City.
All right, marijuana is legal here in Las Vegas, so I can understand your position, Craig. Yeah. Okay, El Tigre, what do you say?
Yeah, I love the side in this game. You can pick it up right now at picksandparlays.net. But I'm with Craig here. I think you're looking here at a lower scoring game. I would look to the under in this one between the Texans and one thing note is the Texans defense haven't been too shabby.
Come on, tell us.
Hey, you know what? That we want to talk about upsets. They can happen in the NFL this year, especially this year where I think there's been some parity with the top teams in the league. I think it can happen. And what is, again, I'm gonna say this like I said this about Green Bay. What has Kansas City done in the last several seasons? Have you seen them in the Super Bowl? No. It's one of those teams that we hype up and they never make it.
The last 400 years anyway. So I mean,
I know it's been the Patriots. I know. I'm just saying. Hey, Houston can get in there. Just look what happened in baseball. The team everyone said couldn't make it got in the Nationals. It could be sometimes you have weird years, and Toronto Raptors won the NBA Finals. No one picked them.
Leicester won the Premier League. But look, anything's possible.
There you go.
Anything's possible.
I think we can see
a 6 seed.
Your heels
3 times and say make it so. Let's move on. We've got to move. Minnesota Vikings at the San Francisco 49ers. The Vikings 11-6, 10-7 against the spread, coming off that upset of the Saints. Dalvin Cook's return was the key for that, for at least the way I saw it, in terms of changing the game. And Adam Thielen had a stellar showing too, I thought. Vikings D held New Orleans to 4-11 on third downs. The 49ers 13-3, 9-6-1 against the spread. They had a nice bye, and that was a huge benefit. Their defenses had a chance to rest and refit. D Ford and Quan Alexander are likely to return. That's a big help. They're big. I had 7.5 points. The way you guys are going, you're going to tell me it's now, Niners 9-point favorites. I had total at 45. You're going to tell me it's like 95 now. So I'll just throw it over to you, Tony Tellez. What is it?
Yeah, it's actually, I've got the Minnesota here at actually San Francisco laying 7. I'm going to take the 7 here with the Vikings. I respect the Vikings' offensive performance. Man, you go into New Orleans and you held them to 20 points and you did a great job on third down getting off the field, and you win in that pressure-packed overtime period. I got to take the points here. They did put good pressure on Breeze. The Vikings are a different team when you have Cook and Thielen, but keep an eye on Thielen. He cut his foot in practice. It's a cut. They stitched him up. Hopefully that he'll be fine to go here on in this game. We see hockey players play with stitches. I think football players can play with stitches. I think they'll be fine. One thing I liked about them was they were 10 of 18 on third down in a playoff game in a dome in New Orleans. That's a tough spot to go. And don't forget, the Vikings did sit their starters in Week 17, so I'm not worried about this back-to-back game here. 49ers have failed to cover 4 of their past 5. I know they're getting healthier, but I think there's some momentum here with Minnesota coming in. I think it make it competitive again. The game could land 6, 4, or 3. You win no matter who wins when you take Minnesota plus the 7.
All right. 1 minute Trap. What say you?
I usually we're not all in agreement, but we've been pretty much in agreement today. I like this Vikings team as well. Dalvin Cook is a difference maker. Their offensive line is more of a they really want to run the ball and play off the play fake. They can do that when Dalvin Cook's running the ball. Dalvin Cook is the key. I think they get this win here on the road, but let's take the 7 points just in case. I also think another under here. Unders and underdogs are good last week. I think a lot of unders and underdogs this week, including this one. Let's take the Minnesota Vikings plus 7.